stop running from prayer. Eagle, Jesus is waiting. Eagle, stop playing around.
And it's important for us to understand that everything God created in Genesis chapter 1 was actually a recreation project. The first creation that God carried out was in Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 only. The secrets and the codes of creation was not made available to the creatures of that time, because the first heaven and earth that God created was dominated only by spirits. There were no mortals on the face of the earth as at the time the first creation was carried out. There was war in heaven, there was chaos, there was crisis, and the earth collapsed. So God came back to recreate the visible universe. Everything that happened from Genesis 2 to Genesis 31 was a recreation process of the visible universe. And when God recreated the visible universe, he had displayed every wisdom he expressed before now. Because the angels knew that everything God created already existed. God just brought back the earth to its original shape because the shape was destroyed on account of the war that took place and the effect it had on the face of the earth. So when God recreated the world, it was not a wonder to the angels, because they knew the heavens were there, they knew the suns were there, they knew the moons were there. And if you study Ezekiel 28 from verse 7, when God was talking to the angelic realm, the Bible said when he created the foundations of the earth, the sons of the morning, they sang for joy. So they watched him when he created the first universe. They know that God had the power to call light. They know God had the power to establish the sun. But there was another element that God introduced in the recreation process that the angel had no idea of. It's called the project of man. Because the visible realm, before God created man, God entered back into himself. Because the wisdom for the creation of man was not in the syllabus that was available for the creation. The waters were created before, the earth was created before, so the manual for creation was constant. The man project was not part of that manual. The only way God could recreate man was for Elohim to go back into himself. That is why when he wanted to create man, he had to come back to carry out a consultation with the divine. When he said, let us make man, it was a deliberation between the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. We have done all we did before. Now we need to introduce another specimen into the experiment. How do we go about it? The divine needed to come back to the community of the Godhead, and the Father communed with the Son. The Son communed with the Spirit communed with the Father. An unending fellowship was activated again, and it was in the depth of that fellowship that he said, let us make man. And this species called man will not look like the elephant. This species called man will not look like the angels. Not even the archangels could carry the dimensions that God wanted to create. The dimension God wanted to create was superior to the angelic realm. That was why in Psalm 8, when David entered into the heavens and was hearing whispers of the angelic realm, he said, what is man? What is this creature? How did you come about this creature? Because the dimensions of the man is superior to the angelic ranking. If you look at the angelic realm, you will see the mastery and the architectural masterpiece of God. When you look upon Micheal, Micheal is a definition of strength. When Micheal stands before you, you don't need to understand what strength is. Everything about Micheal defines strength. When you look upon Lucifer, the angel of the morning, the wisdom by which Lucifer was sculpted was beyond human intelligence. Because the Bible said you were covered with 10 precious stones: diamond, jasper, cobuncle, sapphire. Every precious stone was his covering. So when Lucifer turns, you see diamond. When it turns, you see gold. When it turns, you see beryl. When it turns, you see onyx. You can't explain the beauty and the mastery that went into the design of the angelic realm. Yet, when God wanted to create man, the angelic realm was dwarfed. The beauty that he decked the angelic realm was not sufficient to give expression to this new project. When Lucifer showed up, the sun went dim. It was called the light bearer. When he shows up, the sun in his strength went dim. If you study Revelation 19, you see an angel stood on the sun and he dwarfed the sun. There are angels that are brighter than the sun, yet the beauty of the angelic realm was dwarfed when the project of man was brought forward. So the Elohim went back into himself and he said, let us make man. Let us make man. And because there was no material with which man could be created, God had to enter into himself. And the word create is the word bara. So God fetched from within himself. So what God did was that, like a moeba, God divided into two. For the first time, divinity divided, and he took one portion of God from God and he held that portion. And what he did with that portion was that he took the dust and he hid God in dust. So the God that was hid in dust was called man. So man is God in dust. Such was the ranking of Adam. So when Adam stood up, Adam did not need a lecturer. Adam looked upon the lion. He said, you are lion. And God went back into his archive. And when he checked, when Adam said lion, lion means lion in eternity. God wanted to test the quality of this being. And God caused the man to sleep and took his rib and made woman. And God says she's woman. And when the man stood up from sleep without fasting and prayer, he said, you shall be called woman, because you were taken out of man. Even when the man is sleeping, he knows. You reign, you ancient Zion's king. Kadosh, Kadosh. You are mighty on your throne.